All right, what's up? Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project. This is the Friday Q&A session. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. You could probably tell I'm still not 100% well yet, but I feel a lot better. I actually got some good sleep last night. If people watch a lot of these things, you'll know that I have been fighting a cold for like 2 weeks or something. There was a period where I felt better, so it's been like off and on, but I have a lot of backup drinks here. I have some coffee. First time I'm having coffee in a few days. And then I have some tea as a backup. And then I thought I had more cough drops here, but I have at least two. So welcome. We do have quite a few questions that were sent in. And I'm going to do my best not to cough into the mic because that's not a cool thing to do. Success Roller Coaster is on. Dennis, Kent, Nick, Sean, what's up, everybody? Good to have you on. And FM Scout. A couple things to note. So just published a new blog post, but I will tell you, a lot of people that are on the live streams, you already saw the video that is in the blog post. However, if you want to check it out, leave a comment over there. That would be cool. I'm gonna put the link in the description so people can get to that. A couple other things to note. So I'll put a link in the description to the newest blog post just in case you want to get to it. The other thing is I have actually received a lot of questions in the last week about like hiring writers, scaling content, and that's actually perfect. That means I'm doing something right because it turns out that is the free workshop scheduled for next week. So next week I have another Thursday workshop, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. As normal, link is in the description. So if you're interested in like the templates that I use to hire writers, if you're interested in how I set up the team, starting like small with like one writer or no writers, and then growing it to like 10 writers and a few other people on the team, you'll want to check out the workshop. All right. Yeah, embracing wellness. I am still sick. Adrian is on also, and Duke and Guitar Guide. All right, cool. So we do have a lot of questions in, and a lot of times what tends to happen is I'll answer a bunch of questions, and then people will show up late, and then they'll ask the same ones. So when that starts happening, I'll probably stop. Obviously, it's less fun for everyone. But when it comes down to it, my voice is kind of shot. Okay. Got a bunch of questions. Someone named Toki, who a lot of people may have seen, she sent in a lot of questions. A lot of times she can't make live streams, and she asked a lot of questions, sent them in. And by the way, if you want to do that, that's probably the best way to ask me a question and say, hey, can you do these questions in a live stream? Because if you send me an email that's just, one-on-one and you're trying to get some specific advice, like, hey, can you look at my keyword golden ratio, like list of keywords? I probably, I can't do that because I don't have time. I probably get, 5 requests per week or so for people just asking for me to look at something for them. And I obviously don't have time to do that. If each thing takes an hour, I can't spend, 5 hours a week working on something for someone else. I don't have time. So it's nothing personal. If you have sent such a request, it's nothing personal. I literally don't have time. And then there are other requests where, someone's asking, I'm just getting started with a niche site. Like, what advice would you give me? It's too general. So it's almost impossible to give any advice. And I just say, watch a bunch of videos, like get inspired. Like, I try and reply back to everyone, but if you're asking questions, request them to be answered on a live session, because then it benefits everyone. And I think everyone can appreciate that too. So, okay. And if you're on live, let me know if it's your first time on, and also, feel free to ask questions. Okay. First question, how can I connect with reporters and editors of big publications? So basically, you have to network with them. So there's no like magic bullet, there's no set way to do it other than network. So I would recommend that you go and connect with them on social media. Basically, active journalists will be active on social media these days, and you can connect with them and basically don't ask for anything for a while and let them know that you're expert in a various, whatever you're an expert in, let them know that. And chances are, I mean, like it's a long process to connect. And once you do, then you may have a great contact. Now, if you're trying to connect with reporters about your niche site or authority site, you should probably be like an expert in the field. Otherwise, they don't care about just a random person who has a website and they're not an expert. Okay. And then Sanjivan says, hey, what's up? Is it possible to rank a category site like home appliances? Sure, anything's possible. But I think your question is flawed, so maybe you want to ask a follow-up to ask something more interesting. Okay, FM Scout says, how about Haro? So that's help a reporter out. Yeah, I've heard that can work well, but or sorry, I looked at Samira. So help a reporter out um, basically is it's like an email list where reporters ask for references. So FM Scout, if you want to give it a try, go for it. If you want to, um, like basically I've heard that it can work out well, but you basically have to monitor like all the emails all the time. And even if you send an effective reply back, then you may not get mentioned. So in one note, so for example, I thought I was going to be mentioned or featured in a Fast Company article, and the reporter actually connected with me. So the reporter found me, and he writes for Fast Company. He writes like big, long, 20 page features. And when he contacted me, I was like, I dropped everything, met with him because that's a good contact to have. So we've exchanged a couple emails and stuff. But when the article finally came out, like 8 months later, which was like 7 months longer than he anticipated, I wasn't mentioned in there. So, okay. Alwayne, why didn't Samara make any money? She has over 100 posts and her site has age that's really bothering me. So I think the number one reason, and by the way, I have talked to Samara some over the past several weeks and stuff. My take, like when I talked to her, the biggest flaw was she was just publishing articles that had a low keyword competitiveness score based on Longtail Pro. And basically, that's one of the like huge reasons why I don't think the keyword competitiveness score is relevant. I mean, you're right. She published over 100 articles and she didn't make much money. So when I started, by the way, I haven't mentioned this much because I'm still working with Samara and we haven't published any of the videos, but like, her earnings went and traffic went up a little bit and then they went down a little. She had a decent holiday season. But I haven't published anything yet. So anyway, Alwayne, I'm not sure. I think it's just basically bad keyword research. And then she didn't really do a good job with the link building stuff. Tan Yu says, is it possible to successfully earn with your first niche site? Yeah, it's possible. Duke says, do I do whiteboard style videos to go along with blog post or uploading to YouTube? If so, what have I experienced with traffic and rankings by doing so? And Duke, can you clarify just a little like the whiteboard style videos. So are you saying like basically, I think it's sort of like the blog post that I just put up where I do a blog post to go along with the content, sort of repurposing it. So I don't have enough data yet, but basically that's what I'm looking to do because I have a lot of good blog posts that would be great in a video format. And, I have a lot of, and the other part is some people just do video like everyone here probably. I mean, you're watching a live stream, so you're into YouTube. Some people only read and they, skim stuff and don't pay too much attention. So, and as far as like the traffic and rankings, I'm not really sure, but I can tell you like I have been doing more of these live streams and I've been more intentional about the titles and some of the descriptions and stuff like that. And it has helped. So some of those videos where typically maybe I get a couple hundred views within a week or so, some of the videos where I've done that, I've been getting like 1,000 views or something. And there's only like a couple where it's where I've seen those kind of results. But obviously if it's like 5x the number of views, then if I just do that more, then that's a huge deal. So, okay. And Marco, what's up? Good to have you on. And your guitar guide, if the all-in title, and that's Sharon, I think. So if the all-in title is 2 and the volume is 10, is every keyword in the title 2 times out of 10 or only has been searched 10 times a month? Is it too low of a volume to work? No, that's fine. It took me a second with this cold. I think I'm like my IQ is like 50 points lower. And I wasn't starting with that many anyway. So yeah, I think that's fine. I don't know why it wouldn't work. John, what's up? Good to have you on. Nick says, how long were the articles for Samara? I have no idea. I think a lot of them were in the, actually, I don't remember. Matthew says, you're having people ask about advertising options on your site. Is it worthwhile focusing on Amazon or diversifying income, including paid adverts in the sidebar? Oh, that's cool, Matt. I haven't done that specifically, but I do hear that could be lucrative. Particularly like if your page is ranking well and it's like well targeted, you could run ads for hundreds of dollars per month. And it's like, you just have to put the banner up. And of course at that stage, like you're totally sort of like independent of other programs. Like you just need to have the traffic. And Happy New Year to you, Matthew, as well. Anthony says, if I started answering questions in the video description, I answered one. Matthew says, sorry. Nick mentions it depends on the traffic and the branding message for the ads. Okay, cool. And Duke clarified and added more detail about the question. Yeah, so I haven't experimented too much with the whiteboard style stuff. I have like 1 or 2 videos like when I first got started. But well, I never had the right book next to me, but with the book I'm reading, Back in the Napkin, which I keep referencing, I'm like getting tons of ideas where I could just take like what any of the blog posts and draw a couple diagrams, have a 3-minute video, and just like simplify a concept with a couple drawings. All right. And Tanu says, if I will outsource 100% content, English is your second language. Yeah, you could also do that. If people didn't catch the first part of the question, can you be successful with your first niche site? Yeah, you can. And yeah, you could also outsource it. I mean, the odds are against you, right? If you have no clue what you're doing, the odds are against you, but it's possible. I know a guy from Russia, a student for 5-figure niche site. He he started turning a profit within a few months, and he tenaciously focused on like the work. He followed the process exactly, and I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, he did awesome. He did really, really well, and I actually talked to him some the first couple weeks, and yeah, his English was not that great, but he could do well enough outsourcing, hiring an editor per my suggestion, and yeah, he's doing well. Okay. All right. I'm going to hop over to the questions that were sent in. Do I use Thrive leads? No, I sure don't. And the follow up is when I see an issue using it for a site, no, not specifically. And Toki's sort of concerned about the slowing down a site. Not that I know of. I've never tested it, but you'll have to test it for yourself. You got rid of all the other Thrive stuff just because she doesn't need it. But yeah, if you're already paying for Thrive leads, then it's probably fine. How does my content manager handle adding Amazon affiliate links within WordPress without logging into your Amazon account? You have a writer that's going to do that and you're curious how to do it. So there's a format that you can use. It's like amazon.com slash something with the ASIN, and then you put in your tracking ID. And it's basically, it's the short code. It's not really a short code, but it's kind of a short code where you have, it's basically what Easy Azon does. It's the format that Easy Azon does. So that seems to work, and you don't have to give access to your Amazon account. It's very easy. That's what I do. Okay, hopping back to the chat. Matthew says you have a keyword that was getting 30 searches a month, but over 50 views a day. Yep, that's the kind of stuff I see too, because there are other there are other long tail keywords that are bringing in traffic that you may not know about. And by the way, couple notes here real quick. So if you want to attend the free workshop next week, it's on like hiring writers and scaling content, then there's a link below. You could sign up for that. All right. Are we back on here? Oh, and Jay's on also. Nonchalant. Yeah, the snowman got me. All right. I think I'm back now, right? Are people back with me here? Everybody cool? Oh, I lost my little bottom thirds. By the way, the people that have been asking about that, there's a bunch of like little extensions that you could add for Google Hangouts. So there's a ton of them on here, and that's all you have to do is add it, and then it's built in. I kind of forgot that it was here. I used to use it every now and then. And you could even switch colors. Like I think I was doing green before. Now it's blue. Pretty cool, huh? So anyway, it's just a free one of those deals. So all right, our people People can see me now, right? I'm back. Is everything good? Everybody happy? Everybody happy again? Just going to make sure before I keep answering questions because that'd be sad. All right, weekend RV adventures. Very cool. All right, yeah, I think I'm on. Sweet. Okay. So some other questions that were popping through. Al Wayne says most of our articles are over 1,500 words, so that's about Samara. RCW says, is it still a 24-hour cookie for Amazon? Yeah, in general, they do have a 90-day cookie, but it's a terrible user experience, so I don't recommend it. Although people that sell plugins will tell you to, it's a great way to extend the cookie, but it's a bad user experience. So just try it if you haven't done it. But okay. JP says, can I recommend a WordPress plugin that automatically does localizing for you? Sends people from the UK and you, okay. Yeah. Just use Amazon One Link. That'll do it for you. And Dr. Sibu Mucusless Diet. That's a interesting name there. All right. Thanks everyone for your patience, by the way. There's always some kind of tech issue or something. If it's not me coughing, it's something else. Success Roller Coaster says, Doug, are your website only blog based or store based as well? I think blog based. I'm not sure what store based is, but yeah, I don't do any kind of store format or anything like that. It doesn't convert as well when I've tried it before. And then I just stop because it's kind of a bad model. Do I make product review videos? No, I don't, but I think that'd be a great thing to do. So if you're wondering how to do it, I would recommend that you find some niche and find something where they're doing reviews, and you'll probably see that some people they don't have the product in hand. Actually, here's a great example. iPhone 10, right? People were creating iPhone 10 review videos before the phone was released because they had the specs. So they would just talk about the specs and speculate and speculate about what the phone would be like. So you just have to be creative. People write or create information, create content when they don't have the products all the time. And I see a lot of people were able to make it on, which is really cool. Quick favor, if you have the ability to, if I answered your question, please like the video. That helps me, helps other people view these things and find them. And it should only take you 1 second to click the like button. Really appreciate it. And by the way, that may be the main reason why some of the recent videos that I've done have gotten a lot more views. Just the fact that 50 or 60 people click the like button. So if you think it's slightly helpful, if you appreciate me doing these live sessions, so this is the 3rd day in a row where I'm clearly sick and I'm doing these live sessions. So if you can sympathize with that, another great reason to click the like button. All right. Tinu says, is it you updated course? Can you rephrase that? I'm not sure what you're trying to ask there. It's maybe is the course updated? Of course it is. Yeah, of course. Why would I sell an old course? Arc Trooper, you were wondering on average what people make on their first month of launch. On average, Arc Trooper, 0. Most people quit. So the reality is most people quit in the first couple months. So maybe they're following a faulty model. Maybe they get burned out or whatever. Most people quit and they don't make any money in their first month. But if you follow a proper model, right? If you follow, you don't have to follow my model. It's just one way to do it. If you follow a model that can work, there's a good chance you can make money in the first 6 to 8 weeks. Not a huge amount of money, just a little bit. When doing niche research, should you care about big time competitors who are doing the same niche? Yeah, you should care, but you have more flexibility than you may think. Uh, Yath Yath Arth Joshi, what's up? And Lachey's on. And I was gonna say Lachey is a good example, and, like, you didn't make money, like, right away, but you started implementing stuff, and Lachey, you're doing pretty good right now, right? Alright, and Toki is on. Toki's on live. Awesome. Alright, I'm gonna get back to the questions, and Anthony says, "What am I drinking?" So I've been drinking a crazy amount of tea. But for some of these sessions, I try and drink coffee, and I'm actually drinking a little bit of like half a cup of coffee right now. But I have this, I nailed it. It is ginger peach black tea that I have a tea bag ready right here. It's like on point, and I have some hot water next to me at my desk in this bottle, in this stainless bottle. So it's very hot, and hopefully it'll help. But I got to tell you, Anthony, I've been drinking every kind of tea with honey and all. I mean, it is a terrible cough. Arc Trooper says, "How do I only have 4,000 subscribers?" It's a very slow. It's a slow process. So I think everything is. By the way, it's grown a lot. I haven't done like a annual review, like sort of video on it, but basically the channel has grown a lot, and I hope I'm like poised to, uh, grow quickly with, a couple good videos that go viral. From my observation, I've studied some, but it seems like you have to have a video go like viral or mini viral, at least viral compared to your current subscriber size. And then more people will notice you and it'll grow pretty quick. Now, you can't sort of intentionally do a viral video. You have to like have the right timing, have the right content. So it's taken a while. I've gotten better. If you watch some of the earlier ones, they're much worse. Although today, I have to admit, with my brain thinking slower, it's much harder to do this kind of stuff. Anthony says, "Can I recommend a good Windows desktop screen recording tool?" I think Anthony, you've asked me this before, right? Um, so I use ScreenFlow on a Mac, but you could use like Camtasia. And Anthony, if you have asked me before, just pick one, man. It doesn't matter. Just pick a tool. It'll cost like 70 to $100, and then start doing tutorials. The tool doesn't matter. Just find one that costs a a reasonable amount and pay for it, and start using it. All right, I'm gonna hop back. I'm gonna hop back to the questions that Toki asked. I'm gonna try and blow through those if I can. All right, do I hire a researcher and writer separately? No, I don't personally do that, but you can if you want. And you say you give them 2 training videos to watch, but it's too much for them to handle. If you think it's too much for them to handle, I think that's kinda sad. Should you be hiring specific researchers for every piece? I don't think so. Or if you want it done your way, you should just do it yourself. Your time's so limited. Everyone's time's limited, so I can appreciate that. I would say test, right? Just test and see what works for you. It seems like hiring multiple writer or a researcher and a writer is a little bit tedious. However, if I were to do that, I would I would probably hire a researcher to research like 10 things, and then I would have a list of the outlines and give those to the writers. So batch it so that you have like a queue of work in different areas so that you could pass it along. So I do consults, but I'm only if I'm able to help. Use all the templates to fit your needs, but you still get people who don't follow them. They have questions or don't get it. So it's not really much of a question, but yeah, I'll consult and coach. It it is. I mean, I try and make sure that I can help you with it. Generally, I can, but it may not be the best value for you. But if you're like versus just figuring it out on your own. And if people don't follow them or they have questions, so either you're hiring people that aren't very good and can't follow directions, or your directions are bad. If your directions are bad, then you need to fix them because no one will be able to follow them. I state that I pay $15 plus editing for the articles. Is that just for the trial and then those writers expect more for the next one? No, that's in general. All right. I feel way better today, by the way. Um, I actually slept like 9 hours. So that was like the first time I slept more than 6 hours in a few days, which is great. All right. For my sites, am I using a homepage layout that has a list of posts, or do I have it designed a specific way? Yeah, it's kind of like a homepage layout. It doesn't have that many posts on it. Okay. And the last thing, looking for motivation, or it's going to be okay speech. You're spending/investing in outsourcing content and now training someone to put the content into WordPress, following the template, and really struggling with that financial fear. You have faith in the process and you don't plan on giving up. It's seeing the debt pile up and nothing really come in is gut wrenching. Okay, so here's my tip on that. Don't go into debt. That is not what you should be doing. So if you don't have the money to pay for it, then you should be doing the work yourself. If you don't have time, um, then you need to like reprioritize stuff. If now's not the right time for you to work on it, then, you know, put it on pause, get your other, engagements, or what do you call that? Your other affairs in order. And then when you have the money, you can invest. But I like bootstrapped. I still have the sort of like bootstrap mentality where I probably do too much and don't pay enough people to help. And I should do that. So basically, if you can't afford it and you're going into debt, you should throttle it down. All right. So I answered your questions, Toki. Let me know if you have any follow-ups. All right. Sean says you appreciate that you're doing this. Thanks. And Sean, appreciate the email you sent me. I replied back. Hopefully you get the spirit of what I was trying to tell you in that. I think we're good. And by the way, if people are just joining up, if you have the ability to click the like button, would really appreciate it. I think it's helped tremendously over the last several weeks when people like the videos. I am sick, so if you feel sorry for me, maybe that will be the trigger for you. If you see me cough, like click the like button. It could be like a drinking game, except no drinking. All right. Yath Arth. Okay. I've created a new website on your niche, and you submitted the sitemaps for the Search Console, and after a couple days, Google indexed your pages. All right. Great. Are link exchanges useful for SEO? Are one-way links better? Link exchanges are not as useful. You'll hear it referred to as reciprocal links. It's not a bad thing to have, right? It's normal for sites in the same niche to link to each other. Good example, like I have links to Niche Pursuits and Niche Pursuits has links to me. We talk about similar topics and like we know each other, and you'll find that often. So I cough, so that means you should, if you haven't clicked the like button, you should do that. Um, even if you're on the non-live stream. Man, this is crazy. All right. So basically, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but I would make sure that you don't have like the majority of your links as link exchanges. So there was a time where Google really hammered that stuff down. So again, I would just be careful. Success Roller Coaster says, can you code? I used to be able to, but I'm not a coder right now. I mean, it's actually fun. It's actually pretty fun, but my degree is in computer engineering. So I actually have a ton of experience coding, and I like worked as a software developer for a short amount of time. So, yeah, but it gives me a deeper understanding in certain things, but I don't do any coding at this point. Arc Trooper says, how would I treat an e-commerce website for SEO and ranking with Google? I don't know. Again, like sometimes the questions are just, they're too open. It's like, what is the meaning of life kind of thing. You know, from my perspective, Arc Trooper, an e-commerce website shouldn't be crazy different from other websites. So I would say write good content, long form content that's useful and helpful for people in the niche, and then promote it, network and stuff. Nick mentions, oh, this is a good reference point. When you started watching my channel 4 months ago, is it 3,000 subscribers? So that's cool. So that is a decent amount of growth. And recently seems to be breaking out. Yeah, it's slowly I'm improving. And Anthony says, guzzle down honey. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna make a quick example. I hate to do this, but um so Yath Arth Joshi. Okay. The problem, like you asked a question here. You've asked a question about the content contest. If I remember it, answer it. Okay. Unfortunately, Yath Arth, you made a couple key mistakes. Number one, when you approached the contest video, by the way, there's a contest, a playlist contest. So if people are interested, and I'm going to single you out, Yar Rath, because you're pretty vocal and you're not shy. So I think you could take it. And I'm also I'm going to give you advice that should help you in the future. So I had a video on a contest. It was about creating a playlist with the videos, right? That was the call to action, create a playlist with the videos. And then Yarath, unfortunately, you asked a question totally unrelated. And it was kind of disrespectful in the form of, just asking a question that you could have looked up on your own. Not cool, right? I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it doesn't show that you've like done research, that you've watched anything else on my channel, and you're just looking for like, just free help, right? And I do a lot of free help, but you asked in the wrong place. The second mistake was you pinged me on Facebook Messenger, and then you asked a question that didn't make any sense, asking about slides and music. I don't have time to answer questions that are like nonsensical. So no offense, but you're probably not going to win the contest because you don't understand what we're trying to do. So I'm sorry. The better way to handle it in the future, Yath Arth, would be to, if you can look up a question, like Google it on your own, do that. If you can, look on my channel and say, hey, Doug, I searched on your channel for the question. I had trouble finding it. Do you have any tips for me? That's better. The other thing is like you could have asked the question on a video where it made sense. So a couple of like key mistakes, and it doesn't put your best foot forward. So I'm sorry. And the answer is, to your question about slides and music, no, That doesn't make any sense to me. You need to create a playlist on YouTube. That's what you need to do. Okay. Sorry for the digression, folks. I try and deliver, good content, good information, and I expect a lot out of the people watching and stuff. So if you're not going to try to look up questions that you could find on your own at all, I may call you out. Okay. I would only do it if, again, Yath Arth, sort of, he followed me on every channel he could to track me down. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, Nick says these Q&As used to be 4 or 5 people. Yeah, that's true. It's crazy. Like I've been doing these for a while, and yeah, it started with almost nothing. And Adrian says I only had 2,100 subscribers when you started watching. All right, I'm going to scroll down and make sure I didn't lose everyone by knocking someone down. Okay, cool. All right, I'm trying to find where I lost the questions. And Success Roller Coaster says we only have, well, at that time we had 22 likes, but we have 31 now, which is good. We do have 51 people on. So if you do have an opportunity, that'd be great. Fermin UK says Bandicam is good for Windows as far as screen recording, I guess. And Toki says, you can't believe I'm doing these while sick. I'm brave and a good man. Yeah, it's just, whew. I do what I can. Tinu says, how much time does it take a site to rank? And if your number one competitor is 3 years old? It's really hard to answer that because of so many variables involved. But if it's a lower competition, you could rank like a keyword golden ratio type keyword. You may be able to rank in weeks, but a more competitive term, it may take you 4 months, 6, 12, 18 months to rank. If your number one competitor has a site that's 3 years old and it's competitive and they're using PBN links, then it'll probably take you a couple years. But I would suggest that you don't try and go after, the most competitive term out there. It's just, that's why a lot of people quit, because they're following advice from people that have a $1,500 per month budget and they can really invest a lot. And if you try and follow that model, then, and you don't have that budget, you're going to have some major issues. When will my website start showing in the search results of the focus keyword? It depends. And I think the answer that I just gave fits in. Anthony says, do I hire video editors or edit my own? I started editing my own and then I stopped. So I have an editor, great editor, a woman from the Ukraine. She's fantastic. I think I hired her at $6 an hour to start off. And then after she did good on a trial gig, I raised it to $8 an hour. Success Roller Coaster, how old am I? I'm 38. Rustlin says, thanks for the keyword golden ratio. You're welcome. Glad that you're using it. And Arc Trooper says, out of the affiliate marketing YouTubers, I'm the only one that isn't clickbaity and give real advice. The interesting thing about that is a lot of the others, like Amazon affiliate stuff, the YouTubers, they don't make much money from Amazon affiliate. Little known fact. That's why they don't have in-depth stuff, but they're really good. Like they have like big email list, or they're popular in say like the Warrior Forum, like zone, and they've been doing this kind of stuff with JVs, and they have big email lists so they can like get the views up quick. And yeah. Oh, and Toki says, that's the issue. Your process could be bad. Yeah, I could go over processes during a consult. That's probably one of the most useful things I could do. And thanks, Adrian, for the comment on being genuine. And Adrian is a student, by the way. So my course is coming out, 5-figure niche site, in a few weeks. So keep an eye out for that. And I haven't mentioned it much. I actually meant to talk about it earlier. in the video, but I can't think straight apparently. Like every 2 seconds, I'm trying to cough here. But basically, next week, there's a 3-part like mini course via email. So if you're not on my email list, you should look down at the description and go to the website, nichesiteproject.com, click the green button, make sure you're on the email list. If you're already on the email list, you will get the emails. Just look for them. But it's a 3-part series. I'll send it out next week. And it kind of like, even if you're not interested in the niche site course, it sort of like gets you prepared to launch a site. So even if you are in another course, right? Maybe you're in someone else's course and you just watch my videos and stuff. That's cool. You should go through my stuff, that mini course, and it'll really sort of like make sure you have the right perspective and get you poised. So, okay. And Tinu says, no talk about niche market selection to make sure. I'm not sure what that I'm not sure what that means. So maybe rephrase it. Sorry, I don't understand. Anthony says, you're just now recalling a video you saw back in 2013 or 2014. Yeah, that's funny. I probably had a couple. I had a handful. Like if you go back to the early days of my channel, I'd do a video every now and then. I really wanted to do more, but I was like too scared to try. And then early last year, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. Wesley says, how many links would I consider a good foundation? Your goal amount to acquire? If you can get, let's say you launch your site with like 10 pieces of content, which is what I recommend, folks. 10 pieces, half affiliate, half informational. If you can get like 15 guest post links, like do follow guest post links, that's a good foundation to begin with. Sharon says, on the Google Search Console, are you set for United States or unlisted? I'm not sure. Probably the US. All right. Vaflo says, have I seen a new site with a new domain get decent traffic prior to the 6-month mark? Yes, I have. The most impressive one was, you know, actually, I need to make sure I can't mention too many details, but I have seen a site get like a crazy amount of traffic in a very short time, but it was like, the person's 10th site and they were partnering with another person who has built tons of sites. They had a decent budget to invest in and they had teams to work on it. I expect you're probably not asking about that. You're probably asking about a new person. So the biggest thing is, what does decent traffic mean? I don't know. Can you make $1,000 a month within 6 months? It's possible, but it's unlikely. You'll probably make $100 in about 6 months. Because here's the thing, who cares about the traffic? It's about the revenue, right? You don't want a site that gets a ton of traffic, but the revenue isn't high. So, okay. Steven says, you want to start your first Amazon niche site, you got experience building websites and with keyword research. Okay. Okay. Your brother-in-law is an English teacher. I know that he's the man for my writing content, but you're unable to convince him to write as he thinks the content will be boring. I don't know what to tell you on that. I'll think about it for a second. All right. And let's see. I'll think about it. Tao says, to Arc Trooper, there's a great article on Ahrefs about doing SEO for e-commerce. Highly recommended. Cool. Yeah, that's much better. I'm not an e-commerce person, so I'm not really sure. Green engineer, how often do I submit a sitemap to Google? Only if I make like major changes or like right when I launch a site, but it's not like super critical from my perspective. John says, I'm doing your first article with keywords related to the same topic up to about 2,000 words, but now you're concerned that it's over optimized. Is it safer to split it up into multiple keyword golden ratio articles instead? Yeah, most likely. If you're doing KGR content, then they need to be separate articles. That's just how it works. Or you can make it longer. But if you're doing, I mean, 2,000 words isn't even really that long. So, and Ian says, it's nice to make one of the sessions. I'm glad you are on. Let me know if you have any questions or anything. And let's see, we have 35 likes, the thumbs up. So, I mean, if you haven't clicked the thumbs up, it'd be awesome if you do. And if you're watching the recording, I would also appreciate that as well. Okay. And Steven, any advice on how to convince him? I mean, I guess if you just tell him, hey, it's going to be rough at first, you'll find your voice in a little while and that sort of thing. But I mean, chances are, if he hasn't done much writing before, which may or may not be possible as an English teacher, but I mean, it probably will be boring. It probably will be boring at first, but I mean, if he's not into it and doesn't care, then you're probably not going to be able to convince him. Bassie says, when building links with guest posts, what's the minimum authority and referring domains you want? It doesn't matter. I don't look at a minimum. I go for whatever as long as it looks like a legit blog. What level do I ask my writers to aim for, elementary or college? I don't do anything like that. Generally, like you do want to write at something like an 8th grade level or so. That's sort of like a nice minimum. You don't want to write at a college level. The words are too long, sentences are too long, it becomes a little harder to read. So if you were going to tell them, you'd want to say like middle school level, but I don't do that. Matthew says I should set up a way to donate or buy gift cards for all this free information. It's really helpful and works. For a little while, people were saying I should sign up for Patreon and this and that, but I don't want to like come out here and like ask for something. But if people are interested, I can give like a call to action of, I don't know, I could set up like a like an Amazon gift list or whatever. I haven't had any of this stuff yet, but I could put like books on there, like stuff related that I could talk about. Like I just got this Four Sigmatic mushroom coffee mix stuff and the neuro shroom from Prime Herb. Is that what it's called? Primal Herb. Anyway, I mean, if people are actually interested in donating and stuff, there are little things like that where I could like give people shout outs and say like, hey, Matthew sent me some stuff. And like, for example, I don't have the book handy, but JP sent me an Amazon gift card just to say thanks. And I bought like 3 books with it. I bought Mastery, Back in the Napkin, and I think maybe a Gary Vee book or something. So anyway, if people actually want to donate, I don't want to come out and ask for stuff, but it does take a shitload of time to do these things. Ian says, you missed most of this if I've already answered. Would I recommend using paid traffic and also a paid service that offers more backlinks to receive more traffic? No, I didn't answer that. If you're a paid traffic expert, then go for it. If you are not a paid traffic expert, I don't recommend paid traffic. Let's see. As far as offering a service for backlinks, if you trust, there are good services and bad. Generally, I would say most of the services, like if you just generalize the service providers out there, there are probably more that don't do a good job than good ones. Basically, it's hard to find good SEOs. Okay. Josie says, you started a niche site and you applied the keyword golden ratio. and you started to rank fast, but the other day the keywords just dropped. How can I recover from that? Basically, um, I'm guessing that your site's young and this is a normal thing. So just wait and continue publishing content, continue like promoting your site, getting backlinks, all the things that you would think that you're supposed to do those. It's probably just because your site's young. Shay says, do I have any idea when I'll reopen the productivity course? No, I'm not sure. I'm finishing with the first round of people. For folks that don't know, I had a productivity course pilot. About 15 people signed up, and we've been going through the material, the live sessions, and stuff like that. So, one of the cool things running a pilot course is, I had my assumptions on how to go over the content and what people would be interested in. However, once you get in there and people start using the material and they ask what they're interested in, it pointed me in a different direction. So I've sort of adapted it. It'll probably be the earliest would be like springtime. And I may make that sort of like an evergreen type course where you can go through it, um, you know, at your leisure, right? Gary says, do I think profession area type PPL sites will work if they have a lot of the same pages and they just change the area name on each page? So I don't have any pay per lead if people aren't in the know. I don't have any pay per lead experience. I have heard that can work, but in an ideal situation, you would have different, more unique information and rather than just change the area. So, but I don't know, Gary. I don't do PPL. Anthony says, would I be able to do custom courses to which a user can pick what they want to learn if they already know some of the other things the course will cover? No, I don't do that because the problem is you may think you know something, but it may not fit in with the foundational information in my course. So you have to have the right baseline before you can do advanced stuff. So one of the interesting things is people get, let's say you have a site and you're making $2,000 a month, right? You're doing well. You figure out the basics. Your site's a year and a half old. Like you kind of know what's going on. People that buy the course, 5-figure niche site, and they're at that level, they're able to get results super fast because they go through the material. Maybe they had some preconceived notion about how to do something, and now they can go back and change and adapt much faster. So I don't allow that because, one, I'm a control freak and I have the ability to dictate that. But here's the problem. Let's say you want to just jump into the course, right? You want to jump into unit 4 through 6, which is content and up through link building. Say you want to jump into that. Well, if you did the material, right? If you already did the material that you think you did, right? For units 1 through 4, like if you already have a site going, you try and implement stuff from units 4 through 6 and it doesn't work, then you'll blame me. When in reality, maybe you made a mistake earlier in the process. So I hope that makes sense, Anthony. Arc, if it's not too indiscreet for me to ask, it is actually. How much do I make from YouTube? 0. And from my sites? Oh, actually, I can answer this because, okay, yeah. I make 0 from YouTube. I don't run ads or anything, and I don't have many subscribers. From my sites, I make like a full-time income. So there's a couple of sites that I share information from. So if you see screenshots and stuff, that's what it is. So in 2017, I'll just give you a little 2 reference points. So in 2017, ARC Trooper, go check out a case story, a case study. It's like a 12-part series called Project Go White Hat. Go look it up. Um, my business partner and I on this specific project, we sold a site for 235K. That was in June 2017. And then from another site that I like share some results from, it made about 70K in 2017. Tinu says, I mean, you are not talk about how to select market slash niche. Or Sean is out of here. Pastor Duke is out. See you later, guys. Tinu, I am sorry. I'm not sure what you're asking. You're making statements. I'm sure other people are out there. Just they're yelling at the screen. They're yelling at me, thinking, Doug, just answer the question. I don't understand what you're asking. You're just making statements. If you have a question about that, just ask it. You're just making statements, and I don't understand what you're trying to say. And if someone can rephrase it for me, let me know. Anthony says, should you worry about keywords right away when you're writing an article or once you finish writing it? Like doing a second look over to add keywords. Yeah, you should always have a second look. How many days do you need to rank a post after you've done 5 to 10 guest posts? Current position is the 10th page. What depends on a number of factors. Depends on the competition, depends on the quality of the guest post. 5 to 10 is a big range, right? That's like 100% difference, 5 to 10. So how many days? Anywhere from maybe a couple weeks to several months. So hard to say. Ian says, would I recommend Google Page Speed? I think yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, you should try and get your site to load faster. I would say if it could load around 3 seconds, that's like the acceptable for most pages. If you have like a super long post with a lot of images or something, maybe it'll take a little longer, but it's great to load in a second, but if you can get it around 3, that's good. Nick mentions you pay once a month for a higher end Q&A. Okay, interesting. Nick, you could also turn on super chat and people could pay there as the questions grow. Oh, interesting. Cool. Brandon is awesome. So Brandon says, after the last live stream, I wrote a 1,200 word article using the keyword golden ratio, volume of 400 searches per month. 2 days later, you're at the bottom of page 2. That is awesome. Great job. Lachey says, if I had a once a month Q&A where I briefly reviewed sites and answered questions, you'd pay for that too. Okay. Matthew says, you had an article drop to the 3rd page of Google. After it was ranking on the 1st page, you added a few thousand words, and then it moved up to 1 to 3. So don't worry. And Brandon says, you also did about 15 to 30 blog comments and get more relevance to the specific page. Cool. Good idea. Tanu says, is it your course case study site so can follow? No, it is not. I don't do a case study site. Oh, and Toki says the best from Four Sigmatic, the Chenga tea is for immunity. Oh, cool. Yeah, and I was like, I don't want to. I've been taking medicine and stuff for the last few days, so I was like, I don't want to do too much supplement stuff. Sharon says, do I use AdSense on the site? No. Follow up on your first question from the Flow Official. Is $100 revenue pretty easy to achieve at or after the 6-month mark? Easy is a relative term, but yes. If you follow the steps and you do the work, $100 in 6 months is, relatively straightforward. Kevin says, what's the best method to silo your blog post? Don't do it. It's kind of a waste of time these days. At least that's my perspective. Just interlink your posts. Just interlink your post in a, reasonable way, but planning out a silo is kind of a pain in the butt to do. Lance, what's up? Lance says, you talk about how once you get to $100 a month, it can ramp up quickly. Yes. Do I think it's the effect of backlinks starting to kick in, or what do I attribute the increase to? Typically, it is around the sandbox. So it's all like I'm not 100% sure, but generally there's a 6-month sandbox for a new site. Even like new content, I would say. So I think like once you hit 6 months and the backlinks kick in, the age of the site kicks in, Google has, I believe, introduced a lot of randomness over the past few years. So like we used to be able to like, back when I did gray hat stuff and I had private blog network links, used to be able to add links and you would see the impact in 2, 3 days. You could change the anchor text and you see what changed in 2 or 3 days. It was crazy. And they started making tweaks with it and with the algorithm in a lot of ways, right? There were major updates and stuff, but there's randomness introduced into the algorithm and like results take longer to kick in. So it makes it harder for SEOs to do work and basically test that kind of stuff. So yeah, typically you can grow like exponentially after 6 months. And Tao says, Tinu is looking to know how to choose a niche and if my training covers it. Thank you, Tao. Yes, it does. The course takes you from, mindset and really inspiring you. And then it goes to, basically keyword research, niche selection, competition analysis, and through, content, scaling content, promotion, getting backlinks, and then, scaling, growing your portfolio. There are I think 6 expert interviews with successful niche site owners. And then there are other bonus units that cover, email marketing, other affiliate programs outside of Amazon, selling a site for 6 figures, and, the considerations for that kind of stuff. All right. And thanks again, Tao, for the help on that. Your guitar guide says that Sharon, can your site thrive without guest posts? It will just take longer. Yeah, something like that. It depends on what you mean by thrive. I mean, you could do a site without guest posts, but you, I suggest you do some kind of link building. And yeah, generally it'll probably take longer. And Success Roller Coaster says a view blog post of my have some plagiarism, but everything is my own writings. Can you get in trouble for that? I'm not really, I guess it it depends on how much like is duplicate. Um, can you clarify? I'm not really sure about that. Ian says Facebook, Google, or Bing ads for traffic. How would I rank them? I don't know. I don't do any of that. So Ian, it would depend on the niche. So, I mean, I don't know. Toki, you didn't hear it because you joined late. So Thrive Leads. No, I don't use Thrive Leads, but you could use it if you want. You'll just have to test to see if it slows down your site. Brandon says you're getting ready to launch your new site, but how niche do you shoot for? Would you attempt to rank a site about hunting or go one step deeper? Depends on the competition. I think I would probably brand it I'm gonna mute for a second, try and cough. See, the worst part is the coughs are like just nothing. I'm not coughing anything up. All right. So I would brand the site in a more general way and then niche down on the content. You want to be able to expand it later. A success roller coaster says, like when you do a plagiarism check, they tell me there are blogs out there with the same text. But you wrote it, so did you publish it sooner? Yeah, so basically, success roller coaster, if you have duplicate content, it's probably somewhat of an issue, especially if, you know, if you're copying content or someone else is copying content. And I know you said you wrote it, so I'm not saying you are, but like, yeah, if there's duplicate content, there's a problem there. So you should do something about it. Arc Trooper says, does it really help to write articles on a website like eZine or Go Article? I don't think so. Yeah, Tao backs me up. Says they're a waste of time now. Put content on your own site. Yeah. Yeah, that's very like that's from like 5 years ago, Arc Trooper. And by the way, Arc Trooper, so I'm curious. A lot of times I'll get questions like that. Questions that are like, it kind of baffles me. I'm like, oh, where did you hear that? So Arc Trooper, where did you hear like eZine articles and Go article? Like that really is. I mean, I remember reading that from like Pat Flynn, Smart Passive Income, on a post from like 2011, and I found it in 2013. And I did that stuff like right when it was becoming like not cool to do it. And this was back when Pat Flynn was doing all sorts of gray hat stuff. He doesn't talk about that much now, but he started doing niche sites, doing the same stuff that we're doing right here, right now. And yeah, he was doing all sorts of spammy stuff because that's what people did back then. And that's how he made his name, through niche sites. So cool. Arc Trooper says you heard eZine articles or Go article on a free Udemy course. And you'll check out the info. Cool. So that's the thing. So you can get yeah, you can get free information, get free courses, but it's like people that don't know what they're doing. Like they're making no money online. They have like a funnel. Um, yeah, just a little crazy. They have like a sales funnel. They want you to buy other courses. It's crazy. So Tao says you once did a challenge with eZine articles to write 100 articles in 100 days, which you started. But after 40 articles, you thought, why am I doing this rather than writing for your own site, and never moved the needle? Funny. Yeah. And FM Scout tried eZine in 2016. And Brandon says, you wish you can go back to the old days of ranking. Yeah. I mean, I hear it was crazy. I mean, I got sort of, there's like ups and downs and cycles of stuff that I see. And I've only been doing this for like 4.5 years. Okay. So it's make money from home from some guy named Mike. You guess you'll drop the course. Thanks. I just saved you countless hours. Yeah, yeah. I mean, basically, I would say, I mean, it's cool that you can find so much free information, but you don't know the like credibility of the people. So that guy, Mike Omar, he may seem like totally credible because of like the information he's presenting to you, but like if they can't back it up with results and like other people's results and stuff like that. Plus, a lot of those, I don't know this guy specifically, but like, if you go and look, a lot of the testimonials are just fake. And I've seen this a lot of times on, again, there may be a lot of YouTubers out there that they don't actually have like profitable niche sites, but they're teaching you about it, which seems crazy. But they have the platform, so they're able to like say stuff and people will listen, they'll try and do it, and it doesn't actually work. So I hope my channel, like through this consistent and hopefully the groundswell of support from good people like you all, that it will continue to grow. And it looks like we have 40 likes. So that's pretty good. And I'll just give a reminder, if you haven't hit the thumbs up and I answered your question, I am suffering here, coughing quite a bit. I definitely would have preferred to not do this. So if you appreciated it in any way, please hit the like button. So, okay. And Brandon says you spent $100 in 2012 on fiber gigs and ranked page one for a month or so. Yeah, I've heard like crazy stuff like that. And, I got involved in like 2013, like the spring of 2013. So I had like some good success, but nothing is crazy. Like if I would have known how like easy it was to rank by spamming your sites up, I maybe would have done like more of that and like sold more sites. And like we never know like how well we're actually doing until hindsight. So, okay, any other questions? Any other questions out there? I think I covered quite a few today. Thanks everyone for hopping on, sticking around for a long time. Hopefully next week I'll be able to talk. All right. Our trooper says, how do you actually rank? Just by doing keyword research and using them and getting backlinks. Yeah, basically that. There's You actually missed a webinar yesterday on an SEO plan. So if you go to my channel and just look for like SEO plan, you could find the workshop. The Hatter says, when doing guest posts, are you linking to your homepage or linking to actual post? Both, primarily actual posts, but uh, for exact match, no, you don't really want to overdo exact match, but some are okay. The flow, yeah, appreciate you coming on today. Yeah, the 6-month sandbox is a big deal. So Jonathan, cool. Thanks. I'm going to try and get rest. All right, Brandon. Anthony says, how do I deal with information overload? I stop consuming information. I've like limited so much information that I'm taking in. And Dami says, you think I should take a break? Yeah, I think you're right. I should take a break. But I mean, that is the interesting thing working for yourself. You end up like, I enjoy what I'm doing in general. And, you know, there's stuff that I scheduled, I'm committed to for like these sessions. Yeah. And Anthony says, do I offer an affiliate for my course? Meaning like, do I have affiliates for the course? Is that what you mean, Anthony? And if so, I'm assuming that's what you mean. Yeah, I do have affiliates for the course. However, it's only like personal friends that I know. So generally, like if someone just emailed me and asked me to be or asked to be an affiliate, I would probably say no. So it's only people I personally know. All right, cool. I'm out of here. Everyone have a great weekend. I'm going to try and get some rest and everything. So we'll see ya next time.